Hey everyone, it's Chica, and today I'm going to talk about the difference between air dry clay and polymer clay on altered moments. In case you haven't been following along, I've been taking precious moments figurines and giving them a whole new life and turning them into altered moments. Part of the process of altering a precious moments into something new involves paint and, of course, clay. I prefer to use air dry clay on my pieces, and I've already shared a whole video with you guys about the 3 different kinds of clays I use, how they perform in different applications, and when one is better than the other. A lot of people have asked about polymer clay over air dry clay. Well, I thought it was a great opportunity to give it a try and show you some of the pros and cons and do some experiments with each and see how they work. I'm going to be playing with 2 different air dry clays, my standard Sculpting air dry clay, which is my workhorse and my favorite one to work with, and a new one I just picked up today called Narrow. On the polymer clay side of things, I have original Sculpting oven bake and Fimo. What I'm going to focus on in this video is the sculpting with these clays. How easy are they to sculpt? Can I get the results that I want? Is it a user-friendly material that you can work with whether you're an expert or a beginner or a child? So that is what I'm going to focus on. Maybe I'll do another video in the future on how they dry and crack and things like that. But really, my focus today is the sculptability and the usability of air dry versus polymer. So let's dig in and see the differences between these clays. All right, the first thing I'm going to talk about is how these are out of the package. This is the Sculpting air dry clay, my workhorse clay that I like to use a lot. Super soft, right out of the package, just like this. Really easy to work with immediately, but it does dry out, so you have to be careful to keep it soft. But you can mix water in with it to keep it soft. So as long as you stay active, you can use this. Here is the Nara clay that I just tried. It is a very kind of goopy, soft clay one, but right out of the package, really easy to use and carve, especially for kids, very easy. So the 2 air dry clays, that is how they come out of the package, really soft, easy to use. The polymer clays, this is the Sculpting Original. It's okay, it's pretty hard. I've been kneading this for a little bit and it's finally starting to soften up a little bit, but it is very hard. That's the thing with polymer clay. It requires a little bit of working to get it soft right out of the package. The Fimo clay is even worse. I broke off a chunk and it's like this. This is how it is when it starts out. You really have to knead this to get it going. It takes quite a bit to get this soft. This is pretty hard coming out. It's not dried out, it's just hard. So you really have to work it. So I'm going to work on this for a while and I'll come back. While I'm working on kneading this clay, let's talk a little bit about the elements of baking and how these clays are different. So with the air dry clay, obviously you don't have to bake it. You can just leave it sitting out and it will dry and get hard as it sits there. The polymer clay does have to be baked. There's various opinions and controversy over whether or not it's okay to put a precious moments piece in the oven. We all know, of course, that the bisque is fired at a very high oven when the pieces are first created, but can you put them in the oven? Can you have paint on them already and put them in the oven? If it's a piece that has glued on pieces, can that go in the oven? I'm not going to go there. What I'm going to focus on is the sculpting with these clays. Okay, I've been doing this for a while and I think I finally, this is like old stale chewing gum, but I think I finally got it to a point where I can work with it. So let's go back to the table here and I'll show you some example pieces and we'll try these clays out. I have my 4 samples here that I'm going to work with for my sculpting experiments. I have my Sculpting air dry clay. I have my Nara air dry clay. I have my Sculpting Original oven bake polymer clay and my Fimo oven bake polymer clay. Let's talk first about the texture of an air dry clay versus a polymer clay. The air dry clays are soft, squishy, easy, right out of the package, really soft and squishy, kind of almost marshmallowy. Here's the Nara, it's even wetter and nice and sticky. So a plus to the air dry clay, it's really easy right out of the package to work with, especially if you don't have a lot of strength of your hands, if you're a child or have arthritis or something like that. The polymer clay, much harder. It takes some kneading, it takes some working to get this soft enough to be able to work with. The Fimo comes out of the package really, really hard. As far as workability goes, the polymer clay definitely takes more prep work to get this going. Now let's talk about drying. The air dry clays will dry out just sitting here working, but I can take I have a little bowl of water here. I can take some water and put it on there and mix it in, and this will soften right back up. I can get it wet as I go, keep it soft. So as long as you don't leave it and walk away, this will work for you just fine. The polymer clay, the benefit here is that it will not harden until you bake it. You could leave it sitting exactly like this for days if you want. I've heard even weeks, months, and it will not dry out. So you can come back to the project if you need to finish it later. So that's a benefit here. And then when you're ready, you can put it in the oven. Now let's talk about the mess that's on my hands. The air dry clays are water soluble. So if you get that on your hands, you can just wash it away with a wet paper towel. Cleanup is really easy. These are water based. I really love that about the air dry clays. The polymer clays are not. If you get this on you, it's going to take some scrubbing to get it off, especially this one. This one's not coming off of my skin because it's so hard, but this one, it's thinner and you might get that on and it's a little bit harder to clean up, not water soluble. So now let's talk about some sculpting differences in these clays. The air dry clays, you could definitely make little teeny tiny things out of it if you wanted to carve it, if you wanted to use a toothpick to poke at it. That works fine. The polymer clay, very similar. You can sculpt it, you can shape it. If you're going to make small pieces that are standalone, honestly, you can use any of these clays, whatever you like the best. You have to decide if the benefits of the water-soluble cleanup is more important to you or the benefits of long working time is more important to you, as far as sculpting accessories and small pieces go. Sculpting individual pieces, that's one thing, but let's talk about actually adding pieces to a figurine, because that is the way that I use it the most. I want to add clay directly onto a figurine to change the shape, to add hair or hats or things like that. So I've got this piece here. It's a broken one, so we're going to experiment with this, and I'm going to show you with the air dry clay why this is my preferred thing for spreading out on here. Let's just for fun, let's say I wanted to give her like a big ear or something on her hat. We're just going to add a little thing here. So if I were to add this clay on here, right, just as this little bump. So here is what is so great about this. I can smooth this down like you're spreading butter on toast. Look at that. I can smooth it down to where it is completely seamless. Then I can dip my finger in some water and I can actually smooth it even more. So because it's water-based and it's so easy to spread out thin, I can make a perfectly seamless transition here. So I left it whole on this side. Do you see how that now is completely seamless and smooth on there? My finger has a little bit of stuff on it, but I can wash that right off because it is a water-based thing. So that is what I really like about the air dry clays. Because they're water-based, it's really easy to smooth stuff out. So let's compare that to one of the polymer clays. So let's break a little piece of that off. Got it pretty soft now because I've been working it. And we're going to add this. So I've got that. We're going to add it on this side and see how that performs. So if we put this on there, it's sticking okay. And then I want to try to do that same smoothing that I did on the other side. It's much harder to push, and I'm not really getting, it's pretty smooth. It's okay, but I'm not getting that perfect seamless look that I did on the other side. And I can't mix water in with this. Water's going to do nothing if I try to do it. So for this side, with the polymer clay, I would have to get like a tool or my finger to try to rub that out smooth. I could come back and sand it later, but these are my options. And it kind of crumbles when I push it too hard. So that is the polymer clay side right here. This is the air dry clay side, which again, it's pasty. I can come back and work that paste and make it smooth again. Okay, so those are the differences. If you want to be able to really kind of work and carve and make a really smooth, seamless transition here with the air dry, and then with the polymer clay, it's a little bit trickier. It's really close. It's almost the same, but I really want to just like smooth it with water and make it better, and I can't. Let me see, let me actually like look at it and try to work it instead of holding it up to the camera and see just how good I can get it. I'm going to do my best here to try to smooth it. And honestly, what I'm finding is I cannot smooth that polymer clay down. Can you see the difference? That's about as good as I can get it. This polymer clay side, it's pretty close, but I'm not 100% confident that that's going to be smooth with paint afterwards. I am confident on this side though. Now for my next experiment, I have a couple of other broken pieces that I have painted black just for some contrast. So I want to show the difference in cleanup ability and whether or not the different clays work well if you are making mistakes or if you're learning, that kind of thing. So I've got some of this white clay. This is the air dry Sculpey, and I'm just going to squish this on here. Again, just kind of add the piece. So let's say that I'm on here adding this piece and I've been smoothing it and trying to get it exactly the way I want. Use a little water and really get that on there and smooth it out. Okay, so I'm basically just filling this shape and just making it solid. This is just an experiment. What I'm doing doesn't matter too much. All right, so that's that side. Clean all this stuff off my hands. Now for this one, I'm going to use the original Sculpey oven baked polymer clay. So I'll put that on this piece and smear it on there again as well as I can. This actually shows up a lot better on this black than it did on that other one. Do you see how, like, I'm pushing heavy clay around. I'm not getting this super smooth surface, but okay, so here's my two pieces, right? Now let's say that I've made a mistake and I want to clean that off. So let's clean off the Sculpey side first. So I can just sort of scrape all of that off of there. Get a wet paper towel. Clean it. Okay, looks exactly like it did before. Everything came off. Black is still black. So I painted black so you can see if there was any sort of haze on it. So now let's go to this one and try to get this off. It's a little, it does stick better. I will give it that. It does stick to the surface better. So I kind of have to scrape this off a little bit. So let's get all of this polymer clay off. Now, because I can't use water on this, all I can really do is try to wipe it. Fortunately, I'm not really able to get it all off. I don't know if there's something, a solvent I could use to get that off, but let me show you the difference. So you can see that there, with almost no effort, I was able to clean all of that clay off of here because it's water-based. This one I scrubbed quite a bit, and it is now hazy and white, and I don't know that that's ever going to come back off again. I'm going to try water just so I can try everything. I don't think it's going to work, though. Let's see if we can scrub that off. Okay, it's still dull. It got wet, but it's still there. Can you see the difference? And by the way, this was painted with a satin finish paint just so I could see the difference. This one has some gloss. This one does not because it has that haze on there. I would worry personally about trying to put paint on that over it with that clay base on there. Well, I hope you found all of that helpful and interesting. I certainly learned some things. I would say in summary, honestly, your best bet is probably to get a little bit of both. Try them, see what works for you. Sometimes the sculpting is more important. Sometimes the cracking and the finishing is more important, but it's definitely a personal touch. I'm hoping that this information that I shared with you today will help you make that decision. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any other questions about clay, please do not hesitate to ask either in the comments below or in our Facebook group for Altered Moments. We have a huge community there where we are sharing tips and guidance and inspiration, and it's really great. So if you're not already in our group, check the link below. We'd love to have you join. And in the meantime, like I said, feel free to reach out with any questions you might have. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel because we're going to have a lot more fun projects coming, whether they're Altered Moments or other exciting new projects. We'd love to have you on board as we share more with you. So thank you and have a great day, and I'll see you later.